Well, hello, ladies power lunch. Hi, everybody. It's me. I'm your host, Dr. Davia Shepherd, and I'm here with just best besties, best business besties that a girl could ever want to have. Our special guest today is Amber Dancy, and she's going to be talking to us about that thing that every single one of us as business owners, we need to get under control. That's our systems. She's going to be talking to us about that, and she's going to demystify systems for us. So I can't wait. This is going to be exciting. And of course, over here on the ones and twos, we've got Wendy Lee. Hey, hey, hey. So excited. Guys, yesterday was my birthday. So this is time stamping this event that should be actually quite evergreen. But I just had to take a moment here to say, oh my goodness, you guys are awesome. I love you all. You were so kind, and from my heart, thank you so much for all the gifts, the well wishes, the texts, the posts, everything. It's just the phone calls. Like yesterday, I really felt your love. I felt it 100%. And so from my heart to yours, from this projector who always needs that recognition, you can't even begin to understand how meaningful it is to know that you even thought of me, that you even took a moment to reach out. Thank you. On the show. So we got a very fun special guest with us today, Amber. We love you, Amber. Some of you may not understand why I love Amber so much. So let me just tell you. So Amber, I met her when I was preceptoring for her group coaching program where she was being certified as a transformational retreat leading coach. And you know, some people who, when they walk into the room just sparkles because they have added their essence to it. Amber, believe me, she walks in and you feel that pure positive energy radiating from her. But not only that, you feel her need and her desire to be supportive and to hold that container so that you can get your systems in order. You can get your systems in place. She has a fantastic resume, including her service to our country, which we are so thankful for. Thank you. But her resume really just goes to support the amazing work that she does with her clients. So welcome, Amber. Thanks for saying yes. Amber, can you share with everybody who you are and tell us a little bit more about the wonderful work that you do in the world?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Davia. I couldn't have asked for a better introduction. Oh, I feel so warm and fuzzy now. I'm like, ooh. So I'm Amber. I call myself an intuitive business coach. I'm probably so many more things than that, but we have to put some sort of label on it somewhere, right? So people can understand. I am the founder of Practical Rebel. And at Practical Rebel, we believe that sometimes rebelling is the best thing that you can do for your business. And so when I think about systems are really a byproduct, believe it or not, of your business. And my approach is to look at how we can make these systems work for humans. So I use a combination of, I do have a strong operations background. Divya touched on that. I've been doing operations for 15 plus years. I'm actually I was a mechanic when I was in the Air Force. So how things work makes sense to me. You're going to hear me use the words, it makes sense a lot. But here's what I want you to hear. Sometimes what we need to do in our business doesn't quite make sense. Not on the surface. It might make sense to you, but it might not make sense to other people. And that's where things get a little sticky when we're doing our business systems. We're thinking about the decisions we're making because we're trying to do things like other people and not listening to that like inner knowing of the thing that makes sense to us and maybe doesn't make sense to everyone else. So that's what we do. We're gonna do the things that don't quite make sense to other people, but we're going to back it up with like that practical piece because I've seen it all. I've done it all. I've seen all of the ways and I want you to do it your way. So we're going to look at your human design. We're going to look at how things feel for you. We're going to look at what you want, what your team wants, what your clients want. And that's how we're going to approach systems from that perspective, instead of just worrying about efficiency or how we're going to do things faster, better, easier. Now that might come into it. But ideally, I want these to work so that you get to be in your flow.
Because sometimes humans get involved and then the system gets all willy-nilly. So when we think about systems, we think about the body, think about all the different ways that our body works. So we have our circular system and we have our limbic system and we have all of our beautiful organs and all of the ways our brain works and our circular or our nervous system, all of those things are part of a wider system, and yet they have to work together in order for the body to actually operate properly. That's what we're doing when we're talking about systems in our business. We're looking at how one specific part works and then how that part works in conjunction with all of the rest of the parts. And sometimes that's where we get a little cramped up, a little stopped up, as we forget that the things get to work together. And then we map out this whole beautiful system, and then crap still doesn't work sometimes because we put humans in the mix. And we're all unique, and we all have different ways of looking at things, and we all have different ways of communicating and intaking knowledge and how we operate. Oh yes, let's not, can we not even go on AI? We could really go down. That could be so much fun. And a little scary. But when I'm thinking about humans, we're thinking about 3 sets of humans in your business. So the number 1 is you. The number 2 is your team. And then number 3 is your clients. So I have spent many, many years building systems from the client perspective, which is how we normally start. And it wasn't until I figured out that building systems for me first made all the difference in the business. So I got a little excited and started teaching there, Davia. So did I leave out any bits that you love to share about how amazing I am there?
Well, one of my favorite things about Amber is that she is indeed a mechanic, and I have that kind of mechanical engineering kind of brain also. And so I feel as though when Amber and I have conversation, like, she really gets me and she understands my desire to get a complex problem fit nicely and easily into a simple solution. And so I love that about Amber, and that's one of the reasons why I am superstar excited that she is our presenter for today. So we're gonna dive a little bit more into what Amber has to share about
I'm so excited. I'm laughing because I got so excited to teach earlier. I did forget a few of my other credentials, so I'm just gonna spit them out here for a second so you have them too. So in addition to being a mechanic, I also have a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology. Forget that one. I don't know why brain defaults. It's business psychology. So it's think of like how we would take how people do work, how humans show up in the workplace, how we get human performance to do better, to be better. That is IO psychology. So everything, there's a huge scientific background to it. So creating performance evaluations, there's a whole scientific methodology behind it when you get your master's, which is it's fascinating. It allows me to take my systems brain and actually marry it to the humans, which is what I do. So creating systems that work for humans. So what I want to touch on is what we said before. Even the strongest systems where we're like, everything is there, how did you possibly screw this up? Y'all know I would probably use a whole different word in there, but I'm going to keep it PG today. It begins with an F though, just so you know. And it happens, right? We all have those moments, which Dr. Davia beautifully demonstrated for us this morning. How very source. Thank you for setting that up gorgeously. Even the most dialed in, the best system, humans still have to interact with your system. So regardless of how good we think we've done with this system, if we have forgotten to take our humans into account with our systems, they're probably not going to work the way we're expecting them to work. So Meredith and I have both now confessed we love creating systems and then not following them. My VA, she literally just laughs at me. It's a regular thing. I will get really excited and put a whole thing in and then not follow it because I'm like, eh. Or I love setting things up. I hate maintaining them. So you don't want me maintaining anything in my business. So when I create systems, usually I do it first, even if I have a support team. I actually will physically do the work first because I enjoy doing it. And then once I figured out how I want it to work, I hand it off because I don't want to maintain it. And then it's boring to me. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, okay, give me something else shiny to play with. So today, I think the biggest thing I want you to think about is the humans, not the actual system, believe it or not. So think about you, think about your team, and then think about your clients. When we do it in that order, things start to really align with how we want things to work. So I want you to hear something really important. You are not your business. You're not. You might be the face of your business. You might be the marketing person who shows up in social media. You might be, it might be your stories that people are saying yes to. It might be you that people are saying yes to. But, and, this is a but scenario. I don't use that. I try not to use that word a lot, but this is a but scenario. But you and your business are two separate entities. They're integrated. They work together, but they're separate. And here's why this is important, because your personal capacity and your business capacity are different. We're taught most of our corporate life, most of our adult life, that our personal capacity is what we build business around. We trade dollars for hours in corporate, even if you're on salary. You have to show up a certain amount of time. We're putting taught to put dollar amounts on our client interactions and the tasks that we do in our business. And everything comes back to, is my time worth it monetarily in my business? That's a real key, like, underlying business rule, right? Has everyone heard that? Can you, like, give me a Gibby? I should have told you I really, like, need interaction. So if y'all don't give me nods and stuff, I'm gonna ask questions. Thank you. So what we do is then we start putting in these systems and building these pieces of our business strictly around our personal capacity. And oftentimes we will even invest in ways to expand our own personal capacity and completely forget to look at our business capacity, which is the systems, which is the team, which is the other things that we can do so that you can show up more fully with your clients, or in whatever part of your business you want to show up in. So Melissa, that might look a little bit different for you because of the way that you're doing it. So depending on your role in your business, who the interactions you're prioritizing might look a little bit different than my coaches and the other people who are doing more one-to-one work. So I want y'all to grab a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle of the paper. For any of my source leaders, y'all know exactly what we're doing. Okay, so the first thing I want you to think about, I'm going to give you like 3 minutes. I want you to, like, really think, drop into your day, your week, like just you. I don't want to think about the whole business. I want you to just think about you. And on the left side of the paper, I want you to write down the things that you love doing in your business. It can be anything. I don't want any. The only rule here is no judgment. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care how long it takes. What do you love doing? You can have 3 minutes. Do y'all need more time? Everybody good? Okay. So on the other side, I want you to write down everything you hate. The things you're procrastinating, the things you know you should be doing and you don't want to do, the things that feel really heavy, sticky. You just don't want to do them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. How are we doing? Everybody done? Was one of those harder to do than the other? No? Yes? Maybe? No? Okay. Which one was easier? What you loved?
I loved.
Right.
Can I share a thing?
Yes,
Please. So the love, I'm so happy. It's like, oh, I'm so glad I have this long list of things I love in my business. Like, what a great thing to see and remember. The hate list, what hit me was, I go, some things I don't like, and so I don't do them, and I forget they're things that I probably should be doing. And I literally just, like, put it out of, like, it doesn't exist.
Yes. Yes. I love that, Elizabeth. That's very common. I just want you to know, like, even the most systemized business owner is still going to have things on that list. For a couple of reasons. One, because sometimes they really are things we have to do as a business owner. We can't delegate, and we don't really want to do them. They don't light us up. And two, we've made such of a story about not wanting to do them that we've put them under the rug in the closet and have forgotten that we could potentially delegate these to someone. We could get them completely off our plate. So when we're thinking about systems, and Dr. Divya asked me on Friday where to have people start, doing this exercise and then looking at those things on the I don't want to do column, those, I'm curious, have you done processes? Do you have processes in place for the things that are on that list? Are you the only person in your business who can do those things? Some of them? Okay. So
Unless
first
I
things
hire
first.
control
a VA.
freak.
Unless I hire a VA.
To say.
Right.
Yeah.
So first things first, if you are literally the only person that can do those things, keep them. If you are not the only person who can do those things, the next step is to figure out how to get the process out of your head. And then who can it be delegated to? So Bill, you said if I hire a VA. Now, depending on where you're at in your business, that may be like, yes, I can hire a VA, or it could be like, ooh, no, we're not doing that. So that's going to kind of vary. So if you can delegate them, get those things out of your head. And here's the easiest way to do it. The next time that you do that process, document it. Turn on the screen share like Loom and just say out loud what you're doing. That's it. Then when you bring on a VA, whether it's now or in 2 months or 3 months or 6 months, correct. We could also try interns, family members, like any other help you have access to you. This is a possibility. A lot of times we tell ourselves that we can't delegate this because we don't know. We have told ourselves a story that we don't know how to do it, or we don't have a process, or we don't, like, it's much harder to hand it off. Right, she'll only do so much. So you might have to negotiate there, which is a whole different conversation. And if you cannot get rid of it, I still want you to create a process if you haven't, but I want you to smush it in between the things that you like doing. I want you to think about how you can put those things on your schedule in a way that feel really good. So that, yeah, bribery, you can bribe yourself too. I have a tendency, I used to put my things I didn't want to do at the end of the day. However, my follow-through willpower will fall off. And then I will continue to procrastinate those things because I've already done the stuff I wanted to do today. And so I will, like, it's fine, I'll do that tomorrow. So sometimes I will do it first thing in the morning. Sometimes I will just give myself a space of time and mark off and do as many of those little things as I can so that I can get to, but not do them all at once. So what usually it becomes the pile on the desk that we're avoiding, virtual or physical. And then it's so big and so massive and so, we just don't do it. And then it turns from, not only am I procrastinating this, but I actually hate doing this in my business. So that's where I would have you start. Yes, Wendy Lee. And then Meredith, I want to answer your question.
Yeah, something that really came up for me, especially when I made the switcheroo, is a lot of the things that I, in my mind, said, I'm the only one that can do this. Really, that wasn't true, but it was this old narrative of feeling important and feeling like I am the only one that can do this. So that gives me permission to, work to depletion or do whatever. But it was also this weird thing that if I'm that important, I kind of get this unhealthy love, acceptance, whatever. And when I realized that, I was like, no, it actually is more loving when I reach out for help and I accept help and I get help and I collaborate instead of this earlier thinking of being in the self-important thing.
Yeah.
That
The,
shifts a lot of things for me.
The ego, our ego does like to do things that are important, even if we don't really want to do them. I get a lot of ego hits from doing my own invoicing. I do. Feels real good. My ego really likes it. I can't tell you that that's really like the best use of my time. And there's really no reason why I can't delegate it as long as I'm communicating. But I like doing it. My ego likes doing it. Let me be clear. My ego likes to do it. Bill, fortunately, with what you do, it doesn't feel like work to you. That's beautiful. So for you, the question is, the things in that other column probably, I'm guessing, have to do with administrative details and things that need to be done that actually make everything come together beyond just hanging out and helping your clients figure things out. Me too. So that brings me back to Meredith asked, what is, can I give an example of the business capacity versus your capacity? So that comes back to this list of things that you don't really enjoy doing. So if you can increase your business's capacity through systems or teams, or maybe letting go of our need to hold on to all of the things with our ego, then you have more personal capacity to do the things that you want to do, that you love doing in your business. When we're only looking at how many hours do I have in a day, how many clients can I serve, how many dollars for hours can I get, if we're only looking at our personal capacity to serve clients, we completely forget about the capacity it actually takes us to run the business and those things that take our personal capacity away. So when we have coaches who are completely booked out and they're burnt out, this is likely the problem. That they haven't looked at growing the business capacity through support or systems or delegating. We have made it completely. So this might be a little contradictory. We made it completely about ourselves. And here I am telling you to start with yourself first. I want you to create systems that work for you first. And at some point, unless you choose and want to stay a solopreneur, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. At some point, in order to grow your business to serve more clients, we have to increase our business capacity in order to show up, in order to serve more people. And that doesn't have to look like doing group programs, doing other things. You can still do one-to-one work. The goal is to increase the business's capacity to support your clients so that you can show up and support your clients without the heaviness of needing to hold the business capacity as well. Does that make more sense, Meredith? Yeah. So questions, comments. This is a really introductory. Here's what I want you to hear about systems. They're ongoing. They're going to shift. Once you've done this for yourself, those of you who have team members, we have to look at whether or not the systems we've put into place are actually working for our team members as humans. So like what happened this morning, the question is, Dr. Davia, why didn't the system get followed? And do we need to tweak something in order to serve that human? Because the most perfect system in the world doesn't matter if our humans can't follow it. If our humans, it doesn't make sense to them, or we're not communicating to them, or they're going so fast, there's usually something behind it. There's usually some default behavior or conditioned behavior they're coming back into. They're overworked. They're not telling us whether they're not asking questions. So we have to kind of go through those things first. Yeah, usually it's going too fast, is generally speaking, and not doing the piece where we're checking. So then we start having to look at, Wendy, are these the right team members? Have we delegated the right things to the right team members? Do they have them? I have my team members do the same exercise. Do they love all the things we've delegated to them? Are we asking them to do things they absolutely hate doing? Is that necessary? How do we work through this? How do we have a conversation about this? How do we help support them through it? So when I say we start with you and then we work on them, and the same thing happens with your clients. So if your clients are having trouble showing up, if they're asking lots of questions, if they're not reading email, they don't read emails. I just want y'all to know they don't read emails. They don't. So they just don't. I don't. I also don't read long form posts, even if I want to, just so you know. Like, so we have to look at the different ways we're communicating and how they're showing up and how we're showing up in return. So much to Dr. Divia's chagrin, there are no perfect systems because humans will always be involved in the systems. And the way to make the systems as perfect as we can get them is to make sure that they also work for our humans. Sorry. It's communicating, it's making sure that we know how they operate. It's really understanding what their strengths are, why we've hired them, being really clear on what we're asking of them, and that we're treating them like humans, and that we care whether or not the things we're giving them they love doing. And we're not assuming that they do or don't love a thing. If you ask me to do the exact same thing day in and day out every day for another person, I would die. You give my VA a checklist to do the exact same thing every day, day in and day out. She thinks that is the bee's knees. She thinks that is the best thing you could ever do in the world. That lights her up. So she's not going to procrastinate those things because she loves them. You do that to me, I'm going to find everything else in the world to do because I need shiny. So we know that. And we make sure that our systems support that. Question. Bill, can you ask me that question in a slightly different way? I'm not sure I understand.
Well, we're talking about our businesses here, right?
Yes.
But we all have our marriages, partnerships.
Oh, yes.
Home life, whatever you want to call it. I mean, think about things that you don't want to do or what you do want to do at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good partnership is going to
same thing.
Settle on those things that work best.
Yep.
For them. Obviously, ladies, of course, I get it. You hope you don't get dumped on everything, right? We know that's happened too often due to our society, culture, patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. So
yes,
I'm the cook.
Yeah. It's very transferable. This is actually a communication technique more than a systems technique, believe it or not. The systems are just how we do the thing. What really makes them work is how we're communicating the thing and whether the other person is receiving and understanding how we're communicating the thing. And that doubly goes for us ourselves. So if we're creating a system that we don't actually want to do, Meredith, maybe we need to go back and look at, have we put too much structure into this system? Have we made this too complicated? Have we over processized? Is that a word? I do it my own way. So we're going to use it. And when we've over processized a thing, then we probably don't want to do it. So yes.
So can I just ask selfishly for the process that I have, which is a CRM system, the cheapest one on the market, because I knew I wasn't really going to use it.
Yes.
But I wanted a place to put people. It's not that, I mean, I enjoy following up with people. I enjoy interactions. Yes. It's just that the nature of me, I'm creative and I'm incredibly inventive. So I'm always forward looking. Yes. And the CRM is backward looking. And so it takes a different, and I love efficiency and I love productivity.
Yes, I know you do.
So those are all yays, but I can't seem to get an aliveness with like going back and trolling into the depths and the bellies of my CRM in order to keep conversations alive. And that's weird because I love to be in relationship. So maybe it's just a mental block, or maybe it's like, hey, I just don't have like 3 names drop in this week. Feel into it. Do I want to talk to them? Like if it were that intuitive, I so would get into it. But if it's like, okay, Meredith, remember to go back and look into your CRM today. I'm just never going to do it. So anyway, if you have ideas or if that helps,
I do.
Helps, yeah.
There's a couple things that come up for me when I think about that. Yes, Wendy, could we outsource and have someone just go and get the information and give it to you, and then you get to check in? So number one, that would be a really easy one. That's where I would start. If you have a VA or you have someone who supports you, they're responsible for going and finding the information, and then you just get to say, ooh, I have this list. Let me check in first. The other thing, and this might be a longer conversation, so maybe we need to chat, is was this CRM actually the right tool? And is it really serving you the way you want it to serve you? Because CRMs can also, you can set them up so they give you reminders. You can set them up so they remind you about specific humans in a specific time frame, so that the system itself can do that as well. And so sometimes what happens is we get, this is another thing that many people struggle with, is there's so many options out there. You kind of need somebody like me to ask you the questions and say, okay, what is it you're really wanting to get out of this? I've used most of them or played with most of them, or I will literally do trials and pay for things just to poke around to see how they work, because there is no one size fits all for everyone. So what you need will dictate what I would suggest to you in terms of a tool and how we set it up. So that can be another option.
Okay.
So just something to think about.
Those are good.
Yes, Wendy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See, I'm being a good student and raising my hand. That's still
I love it.
It's still embedded in me. Is there a CRM that just comes to mind to you that's like, this would be one that I would recommend? I know what answer you're going to say.
You know what I'm going to say. It depends. This drives my clients crazy. I'm sorry. Like, I'm never going to tell you there isn't one. I can tell you what I use. I can show you what I use, but I guarantee you, if we don't have a conversation about why, what we really want out of it, what we're trying to do with the tool, and how it fits into your other tools, that's a whole other thing, because they work together and these systems need to communicate in some way. This is where my mechanics brain gets really excited. So less annoying CRM. Yeah. So, and here's the thing, those CRM, they are really beautiful for giving you some super simple tools. But if you don't know that the one thing that's really important to you is being able to be reminded when you want to follow up with someone and not have to go find it, knowing whether or not your tool does that is more important than cost. It's more important than any other piece of it, if that's one thing that's most important to you. That's what we miss. We ask people, maybe you didn't know, so that also happens. But we ask people for recommendations. We talk to other humans that might be doing the same thing that we're doing, that are actually completely different needs and personalities, what they're using. And then we attempt to put it into place and then get frustrated about why we're not getting what we wanted, because we didn't know. Either we didn't know, or we couldn't articulate it at the time. So I'm always going to tell you it depends, because it does. And CRMs come in all shapes and forms. Do you have email marketing tied into that CRM? Is it just customer relationship? There are tools that do both. There are tools that don't do both. The term CRM is a blanket term now. Yeah, and money can also be a factor. So we need to look at that. But knowing what your most important thing is that you're trying to get out of it is what you really want to know, or what you want to test for when you're choosing those things. And this is another place where, if that was on your list of things I hate or things I procrastinate, how do we do this differently so it either feels really good to me to do it, or what do I need to change? Because sometimes we can shift those things just a little bit. Have somebody else do it. But that takes communication. We have to be able to let go of that, because we need to tell someone else. Procrastinate, yeah. We have to be able to communicate to that other person. This is what I'm looking for. This is how I want to show up. These are the people that I want to talk to in this time frame. And we need to be able to articulate that. That almost always comes back to, if you're struggling to articulate or to delegate something, have another human in your life listen to you, tell them how to do it, and then tweak it. You don't have to pay anybody to do that. Talk to a biz bestie, talk to someone in the group, have your partner, spouse, somebody, say, hey, I need to ask someone else to do this for me because I don't want to do it. Can I explain it to you and you tell me if it makes sense? Any other questions? I'm not even looking at the time to be, I don't do I have time to be just rolling?
Well, I think that was wonderful. I am leaving today's meeting with quite a few really good takeaways. I can share that one of the things that I'm going to go back and do in my business is I'm going to do the T-chart with my administrative assistant, and we're going to figure out which things she wants to keep and which things we want to hand off. I'm going to also do it with our manager and see which things I think maybe we'll start with her actually, which things she likes and which things are not a go. And then that idea about using Loom to figure out the steps of a process, that's gold to me, because that's about to happen in a real way here. We're going to be like looming it up all day long. I was thinking that we might have, unless you had more to share, I was thinking we might have an opportunity to just go into a 3-minute breakout room where we can share what our biggest takeaways were and what we're going to do over the next month in an effort to tidy it up.
Tidy up.
So
May I share one last thing?
Sure, absolutely.
So for anyone who is really wanting to dig into this a little bit further and really like figure out how to come back to creating systems in this way and really building a business in this way, I'm doing, I do free workshops every month. They're called Rebel Tea Parties, and they always have a different theme, a different topic. So I'll post, the next one coming up is going to be on my unplanning methodology, which is it's a whole different, it's a business methodology for how you choose decision making in your business. So systems are an output and an outcome of a process like that. So if you would like to join and hear more about that, it's completely free. I don't do hard pressure sales, so please come hang out with me. It's a lot of fun. And aside from that, don't be so hard on yourselves. Systems can be fun. Like, they can be changed. They can be, you get to make the rules.
You get to make the rules. I love that. All right.